What does lust mean to you? Let's start with this question. Open question. Who would like to start the debate?
I can start.
Natalia.
Because I have a question. But firstly, I can explain what I think about this particular word, and also I have a question to you, like a native speaker, because maybe there is some differences between some kind of other words. Because lust, it's not only the one word, that it has a really strong meaning, and this really mostly we are talking about sex, about a strong craving for sex, but it also can be directed to other fields. Just it can mean hunger for anything, yes, like lust for power and so on. It's so strong, but also there is another word. It's a passion and obsession. So for me, it's like these words like is synonyms, but I think that is really big difference when we use them, when we should use them in order to be in order to sound naturally. Yes.
Yes, I think you're right there. It's often associated with sexual desire, this lust. But as you said, it also can be a lust for power, a lust for something else's strong desire that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For my meaning is quite close to Natalia. The lust, in my view, associate with the physical sexuality. I mean, the five senses, sight, taste, and touch, and so on. For the first step, the lust could stimulate the feeling that want to belong some person, right? Which affect to what you're gonna do for to achieve that desire. Yes, that is the meaning of lust in my view.
Right, it's like a kind of attraction there, an animal attraction.
Yes.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, thank you. Who else would like to chime in? To add, is there anything else we can add to this? How about in your own languages, in your own cultures, do you have one particular word for this?
Yeah, I would say that in Russia we have only one word, just like lust for everything, just lust, just like sexual desire, just also lust to achieve the goal, maybe just to know more, and just like it was for that I'm so curious, and so just for example, I just put the goal, just fix the goal that to maybe just to get some, just to find out about something. So just in this way, I will be so passionate, so with the passion and lust to study something. So just to study and or to work. So in Russia, we have only one word. That's why I just ask you that passion and lust and so obsession. And so they are synonyms, but they different.
And it's quite interesting in German, isn't it? Because I know there is a German word, lustig, which is obviously related in the root, but I think you use it quite differently in German.
Yes, lustig does mean funny. But funnily enough, the word lust is spelled in the same way and used has the same meaning. So
right.
It's spelled the same. We pronounce it lust, not lust.
Right.
But there's no difference in writing, and it can also be used in the ways Natalia explained. To lust for some food or anything, or I don't have lust to do something.
Yes, that's an interesting use.
And
German.
So of course it's a completely different usage of this word. I don't have lust to do
that kind of means I don't feel like doing it. I'm not in
yes,
it doesn't appeal to me.
Just don't want to do it now. I'm not
Yes. Yes, I remember that.
I don't fancy doing any this thing, but lust in the meaning we have it in this session now. I think it's just a human, a human thing we have to deal with. It's quite natural, and in the end, it helped our species to survive over thousands of years.
Right.
And
to procrastinate.
For me, it's intertwined with love as well, and I wouldn't separate it only to boil it down to this one meaning.
Okay. Anybody else? Larissa? What are your thoughts?
Guys, it's a very interesting question, and of course, lust in our life, this is a part of our life, and this is a part of marriage in our life. And love and lust, it's not the opposite sides of the coin, but this is very important things in our life. And sometimes when we have the beginning of our marriage, we are really infatuated one by each other, and we have the high level of hormones. And this level supports our lust in a strong level. But when I speak about myself, I am a married woman more than 10 years now, and I absolutely, totally agree with the woman in your video, David. Sometimes she gave a lot of advice how to do something in marriage, in a couples, to reduce the lust in a relationship when you live with one partner more than 10 years old. So this is a part of our life, I think.
Yes, and I think they might use the word desire more in a relationship, in this kind of, to keep the desire alive, to keep the physical attraction going, which is obviously important in any long-term romantic relationship, I think. Yes, thanks. So why then, why has it got such a bad rep? Why did it become to be regarded as a deadly sin, or one of the sins? If it's just part of who we are.
I think that it could be seen. I'm not an expert in religious field, but I think that it should be because of this power of this feeling, that lust. When you just desire something, it could be so strong, and it's getting stronger and stronger, and it could be risk to break any rules, any ethical, social rules, and others, in order to achieve this particular goal. Even just you can kill people, or just you can, I don't know, lie, and you can do a lot of really badly things just in order to achieve this goal. I think that
passion.
Yes.
That word is quite good, social rule. If you break the social rule, it might be, deadly sin, something. But from my opinion, I think I don't think it is deadly sin, because when we're talking about the relationship, it means it's no matter what, it is love or lust, it is about two people, right? So you and your companion have to know the best in the context rather than other. So all decision would make from two people. As Natalia said, if there are 3 or 4 people, that is a social rule. If you break this rule, it can be deadly sin. But if it's about 2 people, I think it's not bad.
Right. How does this fit? Obviously, the deadly sins are part of the Christian tradition. But how about in Buddhism?
Just want to add one. Yes, I agree. I agree that you said that it's like crime. It's another activity. Yes, it's not about lust. Yes, like we were talking about final. Yes, just like you kill or just it's crime. So it's about another activity. Yes, just like we can differentiate them. But I think that also that in lust. Yeah, just like maybe the church maybe they would like to predict us from it, not just to have this lust in order to predict us from crime and other badly things. This one thing just came to my mind.
Do you mean prevent?
Yes, prevent from
prevent.
This. Yes, it's kind of just like a prevent, just stop us. Because if you try, this kind of as a temptation. Yes, if you just if you just make a step, just like you would continue. Yeah, but maybe it's better not just to try, not to make this one step. Sorry, yeah, just like.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about in Thailand. Is there one word, or is this? You said it's not a deadly sin. How is it? It's seen in Thai tradition or in.
Actually, for this word is quite complex. So I have to find the right definitions of this word.
Okay.
In Thai, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
I think things have been declared as or are regarded as deadly sins by church,
Right.
where the deeper meaning isn't obvious, where the purpose isn't obvious, or maybe where the purpose is only for you. If it's a selfish thing, and lust, I think, is can be seen as a thing where you don't. The scientist in the article explained it as well, where you don't look at your partner so much. You don't only peel off a little bit of your surface and don't show your core feelings, she said. So it's more a purpose, the purpose to satisfy oneself.
Yourself. Right. Yeah.
And not to interact really with the other person. But yeah, it's the same or similar to some other sins.
Yes, perhaps
we had covered, where you only want to eat more than you need. So the purpose is not. Yes, the purpose is not to get to live, to eat for living, but for enjoyment, for joy. And I think these things are considered as not useful. There's no deeper sense, so they have been declared to sins.
No.
Yes, good point. But is that a bad thing, to have some pleasure for ourselves, some enjoyment?
I don't agree. I think there's a deeper meaning, even if, I always think or always say we have to take into account to whose expense we act, or to whose expense something is affected. But as soon as we take into account the effect to other people and it doesn't harm anybody, and it maybe creates connection to other people, it's useful and powerful to improve the world, at least.
Yes. So yeah, so we can go after this as long as we don't perhaps stop other people or hurt other people. Okay, so now let's talk about then the difference. Larissa mentioned before that lust and love are not completely opposite. So let's now examine them and where the overlap is and what is the difference between these? How is lust distinct from love?
I think that Andreas that mentioned, and that lust is more selfish. It's just a strong feeling, and then it's directed to yourself. It's selfish. And for me, yes, I agree that because you think about your desires, about yourself, and you think it's right. That's what your actions, you can prove your actions toward other people, your partner. So that's directed to yourself. You want to fulfill your desires. You think only about yourself. But love, I think it's valuable. It's more difficult. It's a valuable feeling. When you think about other people, you just care about them, make them happy. And it's also not only about romantic love. It's also love to kids, to other people, to place you live. It's kind of it's more different, and love, yes, I mean, just like you want to give your advice to people if they don't need it. You would respect their point of view. Yes, and another way of living you can accept. You can be, how to say, so just love is kind of a healthy feeling, and it should bring happiness and mental support. You should relate, just respect other people, and think about them, that their value, and just you would relate to them like value, like they are value for you. You would care about them. You would think about how to make their life better, but with the acceptance and approval to do it without any force and any pressure. That for example, I'm a mom. I know what you need because you're my kid, or just I would be pressure my way of living, and because I just wish you only good. But your kid don't want these kind of actions, and maybe just he would choose another job, and you would be unsatisfied with their choice, and you would know what, because I love you, because I just, no, that's about lust, because you just feel about yourself. You don't care about other feelings. So love, it's valuable. It's a really opposite feeling. When I think that when you relate to other people like the value thing.
Yes, you mentioned that love as a parent. Often we say,
yes, I think that's the same.
Unconditional.
Also to the partner, you have to.
As well.
Yes, partner as well.
Okay. So maybe come back to that and bring in, with love between partners then, is that also unconditional? Should it be unconditional?
I think it's really difficult to explain. So many things. It's really, you don't think about yourself. You're not selfish in this way. You think about other people, and you think how to make their life better, how to support them, how to make them happy, not unhappy in this way. Because that's in Russia. Sometimes we say, if he didn't fight, or just if he just then it means that he loves his wife. If he just beat her, bite, just I don't know, just use kind of like the physical actions. I don't know how to explain, but anyway, it's not. It's only your feeling. It's only your selfish feeling. when you just approve your actions, and then you just say, yes, but because I love you and I do these things. No, no, I think it's not workable.
I see. As a kind of excuse for this action.
Yeah, yes, yes.
I think, in my opinion, lust is might be one part of love. Love is bigger than lust. For example, love is like the cup of bubble tea, and the lust is would be the bubble in the cup of the tea, right? I think that is because lust can drive the love to the target. Yes, that my opinions. Mhm.
Yes, right. Maybe lust can lead to love.
Yes, I think.
Yes, I think I agree. Love is certainly bigger than lust, but maybe lust is one part of it.
But I think that's also, just to add, love shouldn't be like a blackmail. Just, if you love me, do you love me? Just do these things. Yes, it's like sometimes couples just try to. If you love me, yes, you have to do this. So I know what I do. So just like do this because do you love me? Yes, just go ahead. It's kind
That's
of
quite
blackmail.
selfish. Yeah.
It's also it's not about love, I think.
Mm.
And probably real love also requires to make some sacrifices sometimes, or to forgo some things. And this is also a hint for the fact that it's not selfish or shouldn't be selfish. Maybe compared to the pure lust.
Yes, that's a good point. Involves sacrifice.
Guys, I listen, and I have my own questions. And this is interesting for myself. For example, if, as Natasha says, good example, if you love me, you should do something. It's not love. It's not lust. It's only a manipulative strategy which someone use in a relationship to achieve something. But what I'm thinking now, I think about lust from the good point of view. When we have lust, possibly at the beginning of our romantic relationship, but we're full of spice, we're full of energy. We want to hug all the world. We don't see any difficult task before our eyes, and we try to do everything. But when and of course you have the high level of sexual hormones. But in 3 years, and I met this information, the level of sexual hormones, oxytocin, and the one of them become low, and you begin to live with your partner as a friend. And in this moment, you can coach yourself on the idea that you begin to open for yourself another woman or another man, and it's normal. You have a sympathies, you have chats in your mobile phone, and this is the signal for you that from the one hand you should change something in your life, on the other hand you're still alive because you have a sympathy and you it's give your energy to do something. So
yes, I think that's one of the speakers talked about that, didn't she? And sometimes in English we talk about something called a 7-year itch. I don't know if this has any relevance or basis in biology or psychology. it relates to what you're saying there. And often then there's a different level that the love needs to become deeper than just the love, just lust. But also the lust can be quite important, and especially the desire, the romantic or sexual interest, shouldn't be just shouldn't be ignored, I think, depending on the partnership, but it's obviously
Yes.
important.
But if you have not a lot of lust, but a normal level of lust in your life, this is a wake-up call for you, that you have to change something with your partner, or to open something, or to go to the lessons of cooking as this woman, and so on.
Right. Did you say the lessons of cooking? Sorry, I don't quite follow. Can you explain?
Okay, so did you see the video which you sent us? At the end
Yes.
of this video, yes, at the end of this video, she described her own experience, how she, what she did for something new in her relationship with her husband. So some couples go for dancing class. Some of them gave messages in different spots of the town, and the partner tried to find it. And her own experience was that she began to visit the cooking classes and to open the different cuisine for herself and her husband, and it was very interesting.
Okay, as a way of bringing them closer together.
I think that there were some methods, some ways how to refresh relationships, and there were a lot of good advice and how to do it. But I think that the most important thing in relationship is talking. Once you stop talking, your relationship would be broken. So that's kind of like, I think it's true, because mostly our majority of time we are talking to each other. We have maybe different topics we can explain. We can just I don't know, watch a movie and then discuss it, and just we can read books and then discuss. And of course we are just could be involved in some so we kind of on the same level, and just not level, just like in a one direction. So maybe we can of course to do a lot of activities together. Of course it makes us closer, but anyway we are talking. If we just stop talking, we just use gadgets, or just we are say a couple of words during the day, that's, guys, there is a big indication that something goes wrong with your relations.
Yeah, and suddenly you end up just roommates, maybe not even
Yes.
friends.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Guys, you've been quiet.
I think about what was the question, but I agree. Love means that our lives are intertwined, and that we include the partner into our thoughts and into our decisions as well. And so I agree that talking is one core point we should consider, that the connection stays alive, and to take part and to make the partner getting part of your life. And I think thoughts are main part of our life, so including the other one, and pronounce what I'm thinking and what does concern me, what is concerning me right now, what fears, what desires or plans do I have to share this with my partner. Of course,
Yes.
strengthens the connection.
Right, yes, to share our hopes and fears, and perhaps what is important to the other people, to know about that. And the way we express it And I was watching an interesting video about introverts and extroverts, and the introvert who was talking about the video said that her and her husband didn't really enjoyed some companionable silence together as introverts. So it wasn't always about talking necessarily, but obviously they communicated to each other. They understood the other person, and they were happy to do things, some activities, even if they weren't chatting as much as maybe other couples might be.
Yes, I totally agree. And as people who know each other very well, also close friends or long-lasting friendships, they don't have to talk all the time to be connected. They also are able to communicate with silence, and your partner is there, and that's good.
Yes, maybe just a look or a nod could communicate a lot if you know each other well. You can be...
Because it's also stressful if I think the other one expects that I keep talking, and I should say anything to avoid silence. Silence can be very difficult if you don't know the opposite person very well. And so it's also a sign of good relationship if silence doesn't stress you.
Yes. Good.
May I just give you one example, my private example about my mom? Yes, and it's also, I like this example, and it's to continue this topic about talking and just what is the really most important thing in relations. Because my mom was 40 when she was divorced. And then she started her new relations, but not being married. That it was kind of a friendship, and then it was be romantic relations. And now that she's 72, and so they are together more than 30 years. And they are really nice. And when I see they're like a couple, they could talk about, they respect each other, they have a lot of different topics. They are interested even just being in their company. It's really nice because I see how their eyes are shining and how they respect each other, how they talking, how they go to concerts, to some other things, they go walking. So they are really together. They don't fight. They don't share their, privacy or just their flats or something. They really love each other. They're happy. It's possible. It's possible just to be together for a long period of time and to be in love and not just trying to find other things, how to refresh their relations. They just found each other and they just value their relationship. They value that together, just their personalities, not just because he has a big house or just 2 cars and he's rich. No, it's really good.
Does something like that, does it happen naturally? Does it come, so
It's
easily
natural.
to them, or is it something they have to work on together?
I think that they found each other, and he's also divorced, and that was like a second period of their time. Maybe because they had such experience just being in a couple, and so many obligations, so many fights and conflicts being in the family. But then they were just maybe they were smart enough to get to be involved in new relationship, just knowing their mistakes and maybe just in base of their mistakes, and now just they have they understood what is valuable, what is more important for them, what they need. They need kind of a partnership, friendship, and communication, connection, and to make each other happy. Just being together. Yeah, it's
So
a really nice.
Say yes, they were kind of attracted to each other
Yes, because can you imagine they're 72, and my mom she's also she's in good shape. Also in the morning she get up, just wake up and she do exercises for 15-20 minutes. She's so active, energetic, and so that's kind of wow. My mom, she cannot sit and just, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. So just say I'm old. No, she's so just energetic. Yes. She feel good and she's healthy, and so life doesn't stop at any age, at 70 or at 50 or 60. So it's up to you.
Nice.
I think one key is not to aim to change the other person, the traits of the other person, but to accept the everything as a part of the person, and to love it as well, even if it's different from my traits or from my habits. But we can't, and I think we shouldn't try to change other people.
I agree.
Yes. Yeah, too.
Sometimes that's, I don't know, it's an accusation leveled and at women more than men. They're saying they try to change the men more, whereas it's usually, I don't know, in English they make jokes about it. Men would like the women to stay the same, exactly as they met them, whereas the woman sees the man and sees the future, the way he's going to be molded into, the perfect. I'm sure that's unfair, but is there any truth in that?
Guys, I have my opinion, and thank you very much, Natasha, for your example. It's a really good example and priceless example of life. In our life, at the beginning of our life, when we are in our 20s, in early 20s, we make many mistakes. And as according to example of Natasha's mother, she had her marriage, she had her divorce, and after that she tried to do all your best for changing the situation and not to repeat her mistakes. So she made the right partner for relationship, and she was not married with him, but she saw in him his strong sides of his character, and she opened the world with him. And now in her age, in her 72, I make an accent in this number, because I can't imagine in my age now, I can't imagine myself in my 72. But I think that in our day in and day out, extremely important to have a partner, and it's important in 72 without lust possibly. I don't know how it is in a relationship Natasha's mother, but it's very important to have a right person for communication, for visiting, etc., to support your lifestyle and so on.
Yeah, at this age, yes, I think that is very important. At any age, I think it's very important. But when you, so kids wouldn't be the same support like your partner, I think.
Yes, often people talk about companionship, which might be even more important than the lust or the sexual, physical side of things, especially as people get older.
Yeah.
Okay. So unless anyone has anything else to add here, I'm going to bring in the next question, which is about modern lifestyle, particularly with the pandemic that has affected the world for the last year and a half. About modern technology. How has modern technology changed the way we love or lust and have relationships?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for this video. It was really nice, and we was really, I don't know, so so many points and really different points from explaining the brain from I don't know, studying the brain and studying real stories. So just like there were two perspectives, and I like all just what is explained. But I think that the main point is technology cannot change the relationship, because just we can change their context. I mean, just like our life conditions, or just or we have gadgets, we didn't have gadget, but anyway, just some rules how we build relationships. They are the same as 2,000 years ago, and there would be, I think, the same. I hope in 2,000 years. So that was really fascinating video.
Nice. But has it changed the way, I don't know, it reminds me of an old-fashioned term in English called courting. My dad would ask, you know, are they courting yet? Which is a young, an expression, an old-fashioned expression for, I guess, before a couple meet and get married, and we'd probably say dating these days. Okay, so maybe the underlying feeling, the way that we connect, the way we are as human beings hasn't changed. But what about the logistics of it all? The way we meet. In the past, we would write love letters, but no one writes letters anymore, do they? Not many people.
Yes, I think the modern technology is like the one to amplify or too easy to discover the new people, right? And to know each other more than the past. And this might be effect to the exist relationship if it's not strong enough. I think it would affect for if I have the companion, but my relationship is not strong, and we have the modern technology too easy to know the new people, right? It's like,
yes, it is so easy, isn't it?
Easy to break my relationship
to
get a new one
with these dating apps, and
yes,
it seems every social media expert is adding. I know, even though I'm quite sure my status was married, that Facebook's trying to get me to use their dating application part. So yeah, there's definitely perhaps more temptation these days with technology. Is that fair? Or is it always the same? It's just down to us.
I found interesting that she called it introducing platforms instead of dating platforms, because dating and how we interact and communicate will stay the same, she said, but the way we get to know each other has become easier, and she also mentioned that it might be overwhelming for a lot of people, because we don't only have the chance to meet the few people living in my village, but the opportunity to get introduced to hundreds or thousands of people. And so we tend to block further actions. She brought up the example of people are afraid of getting married because of the consequences of divorce, and maybe people have become more cautious because there are so many opportunities and you have to choose the right one. It's a big challenge for our brains, probably.
Yes. Anybody else? What do you guys think?
Guys, I have not a strong answer for this question, because I think that if we speak about real love, modern technology or old technology, they can't change the way of love. And we have the coronavirus pandemic situation now, and as old example, more than 25 years ago, I was a school girl when I first of my, I'm sorry, more than 35 years ago, I was informed that we have human immunovirus deficiency in our world, and this is the great pandemic. But if person begin a relationship, they are very infatuated, and they don't think about consequences when they love, when they high level of confidence or respect. So I think that modern technology, they made us to be well interconnected, but the real way of communication they can't change. I think so.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Larissa. Yes. Okay. And yes, I mean, you've talked about that, the pandemic and COVID-19. I remember earlier on in the pandemic seeing stories about how it has kept certain people apart and kept relationships. How relationships, many people, I guess if you love somebody, you would find a way to keep it going. But it's certainly put a lot of pressure on different relationships. Perhaps it's made us ask some big questions of ourselves.
Yes.
What about this, COVID-19? Obviously now young people are not able to go out and socialize as much as they had in the past, to go out in person. So perhaps they're forced to, into greater isolation. So doesn't that make it much more difficult for people to meet each other? What do you think?
I think the COVID-19 changed everything around us, right? So its effect to such as the job, the income, and of course the life, and so all of things might affect to your feeling, which might be sensitively with your relationship in this time also. Because for the relationship, they have many factors. I mean, the money, the time, everything, and the COVID-19 change everything right now. So you have to keep calm down enough to keep your relationship on these situations.
Yes, of course. It's put on the other side of that question. It's put a lot of extra pressure on relationships where people might not be used to spending quite so much time together.
Yes.
Suddenly they are forced to do that. Yeah, so there's probably two sides to this.
I try to use the very old cliche, to better be safe than worry. So you spend time together, or if you one day informed that the person had this infection or have this infection, you try to be emotionally calm and to wait the period of quarantine time and to think about consequences.
Right. Yes, that's another aspect, isn't it? If you're worried about infection, do you see somebody? But I mean also the fact that when many workplaces were closed or still are closed in many parts of the world, people have been working from home a lot more. Families and couples who may just in the past have spent a few hours together, tops every day, suddenly spending the whole day, that can put extra strain on some relationships.
Yes, there have been a few divorces on account of COVID and the forced home office situation in my environment, in the field of my colleagues and acquaintances. So I think it's really a point you have to deal with the situation, especially if you have children, maybe smaller children, and have to take care about them, or to do schooling at home, or so there are a lot more tasks and challenges for couples, and they have to cope with each other as well.
Yes.
But to be honest, I can't say that something changed because I broke all rules. You know that I didn't I didn't stay at home the whole period of time. So I continued my life without just. So of course I work decently. I work at home, but just I was jogging every day. Just I was working. So that for me it was nothing because I understood that it's a big pressure just to stay at home, to be isolated, to have a fear. I think it's more dangerous for you to be afraid of it and really change your way of life to stay at home, just to be non-active. For me, it's like a disaster. It's really, it's more dangerous. I valued it. I just compared, and of course, I made this decision, and I didn't change my life at all. So that's what I.
And your partner, was he
That's
also at
just
home,
like
working from home?
No, because it's a kind of different way of job, and so just it's impossible to stay at home and just because there are some jobs that it's impossible to work at home.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yes, but I know in many cases people have not been able to, or maybe they did have a choice, but I know it certainly has had a big impact, and like Andreas said, it has led to many people questioning the whole relationship. So I know it's part of a bigger problem. I don't really want to get too much into that argument right now. So I think I would like to thank you all for joining this debate. And
thank you, David, for this topic, for this opportunity.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been interesting. I wasn't quite sure where it would go, but it's been great to get all your contribution, your thoughts.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So have a good weekend.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay.
And
Take care.
see
Goodbye. Bye bye.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye, guys.